you all here. I'm calling to order the meeting of the Carson City Cultural Commission. At the beginning, we'll have roll call.
Chairperson Dineo.
Here.
Vice Chair Ramirez.
Here.
Commissioner Abad.
Here.
Commissioner Bugley.
Here.
Commissioner Leyva. Commissioner McBride.
Here.
Commissioner McCormick. A quorum's present.
Okay, I have a few things to say to you first, and we have two sets of minutes of the Cultural Commission to approve first before we can get into anything that you're interested in. So, to tell you, the public comments and discussion, we have a 3-minute time limit per. The public is invited at this time to comment on and discuss any topic that is relevant to or within the authority of the Carson City Cultural Commission. In order for members of the public to participate in the Cultural Commission's consideration of an agenda item, the Cultural Commission strongly encourages members of the public to comment on an item during the item itself, subject to a 3-minute limit. No action may be taken on a matter raised under public comment unless the item has been specifically included on the agenda as an item upon which the action may be taken. For any of you who want further information, there are agendas over on the table at the exit door. Okay? Anybody in the public want to make a comment on any issue not on the agenda? Moving on. I would like to request possible action, adoption of the agenda as has been presented.
So moved. Second.
There's a move and second.
Second.
Yeah. Okay, call the vote, please. Okay.
All those in
No, all those in favor. Oh, we don't have to do a roll call. All those in favor?
Aye.
No one's opposed? It passes. Okay, we have before us the minutes of the March 11th, 2019 and April 16th, but we'll take the March 11th first. Any comments, any corrections, any changes? Okay. May I have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve the minutes from the March 11, 2019 meeting.
There's-
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Let's move on to the April 16th meeting minutes. Do I have any comments, any corrections, changes?
I move to approve the minutes of April 16th, 2019 as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, on the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Okay, so, Mark, possible action items. A discussion and possible action to make recommendations to the Redevelopment Authority regarding applications requesting fiscal year 1920 redevelopment arts and culture special event funding. What do you want, what's the pleasure to do with that?
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Afternoon.
Chair Dineo. Thank you for the audience members who are here tonight. Lovely to see you. Just as a little background, annually, the Redevelopment Authority allocates $25,000 for the Cultural Commission to score projects that occur within a footprint of Carson City called the redevelopment districts. There's 2 of them. And all of your projects are eligible. Some locations are perhaps where the BAC is. Some locations include here where the community center is. And so what we're doing tonight is looking at the proposals. All of our commissioners have already received your proposals. They've reviewed them. This is an opportunity for someone from your organization to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes, explaining and really pitching why your proposal really rocks, right? This year, as an added bonus, we're offering a 1-minute sample. So that sample could be live, it could be on a USB, but just to give the Cultural Commission some idea of your talent. So, you know, it might seem everyone's competing against each other, but we're really collaborators and counterparts of each other. And the way I look at it, and tell me if I'm wrong, but when I like to go to my kitchen to cook, I want there to be a variety of spices up there on the rack, and that's what we have here tonight, so thank you for being here, okay? Last year, we put into place a scoring rubrics. So what that means is a fancy Excel sheet. All of our commissioners are going to hear your presentation. Commissioners, please take notes. I gave you pencils. After all applicants have their time here, and after all applicants have showed their sample, we're going to take a 10-minute recess, and that's going to allow the commissioners to do some hard math between the numbers of 0 and 30, 30 being a perfect score, okay? Commissioners, then, after the recess, I'll get those numbers from you, and I'm going to plug them here into this chart up here. And I have the applicants in order as presented, and that was how fast you were able to email me back, okay? So the first one is Wild Horse, followed by BAC, Proscenium Players, Carson City Symphony, Mile High Jazz, Sierra Nevada Ballet, and Pinkerton. Yes. After all the commissioners tally up their scores, we're going to put up a new Excel sheet, and I'm going to show that to everyone. Is it on the other screen? Okay. And what this is, it's the master scoring. Now, I threw up some numbers there in the blue area. Here we have all the applicants, as I just listed them in order. Here's the amount requested for this fiscal year. This is how much they received last year, okay? And that's just for the cultural commissioners to have some history, some background. These are the initials of all of our commissioners. We have 2 commissioners not here yet. We're going to hope that they can show up to score. And I threw in some numbers. So I wanted to be very clear, just to refresh the commissioners and to introduce anyone who in the audience who's not familiar with this process, is that each commissioner is going to score 1 to 30, okay? So just for sake of an example here, Wild Horse, we put 15, 15, 15, 15, 15. So guess what? Their average score out of 30 is a 15. What we've put in place is a scoring criteria that your score times how much you ask for is potentially how much you might get. You see what I mean? So if you score high, you're going to get close to your ask. If you score low, not so much. So in this pure example, if they were to have an average score of 15, that means they have a 50% score average, right? So we take that, and if you follow my cursor, we times that by what they asked for, right here, 5,000, for 2,500. And that's just an example to show you how this might work, okay? Here in this example, look, we only have 1 commissioner voting. Let's say all the commissioners have to recuse themselves for one reason or another. That's not going to affect your score, okay? If commissioners need to recuse themselves, that's not going to lower the score because we're only dividing it by the amount of people who voted. So in this case, their average score is 25. See that? Only 1 commissioner voted, but they still have 25. That yields an 83.33%. So what I do is I go back here, times that by the 5,000, and we get this amount. Now, mind you, all of these amounts are just to get us started, because if you look over here, this year, all the applicants have asked for a total of $33,500. Well, we only have $26,315 available, so we have to make a cut. And the first step to making this cut is to give you guys a score, and we'll see what that is. Now, if that's not low enough, let's say if everyone could get a 30, okay? Everyone could get a 30. And then we're back where we started. But from that point, let me put my glasses on here. We're going to take a recess. I want to get to this point right here. I want to get to everyone's score, and we're going to times it by how much you've asked for. Let's just see what this is. So in this scoring scenario of all these fictitious numbers up here, look where we're at. 3% cut it requires. So the ask is for 27,000. We only have 26, so we have to make a cut. So how do we do that? And that's what we're here to find out. So it's equal, and so it's fair, and so it's obviously transparent to everybody, okay? There's many ways we could do it. We could take 3% cut and cut everyone 3%. Or we could feed it in to what's down here Funding tables. Ooh, funding tables. So that means that your score, who have I lost already, just by a raise of hand? The younger kids, I'm fine with the younger kids not following this. So your score, we're going to put into a funding chart and see where that goes. So if you got an 89, because we don't have enough money to make everyone happy, that might become an 85%, or it might become an 80%. This is how we did it last year. And as complicated as it sounds, the commissioners, but moreover, the applicants were really happy about this process, okay? Because this is the first time that you actually get to see where these numbers come from, right? Are you with me? All right.
Mark, I'll add.
And if you happen to be taking an algebra class, I'll sign a paper and you'll get extra credit for it tomorrow. You can bring it to your teacher.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So let's get back to this. So the Cultural Commission is making recommendations, and I'm going to take those recommendations on June 6th to the redevelopment, and they're going to vote yes or no, okay? They haven't voted no in the past. They put this in in front of us at our desk because this is our specialty, arts and culture, okay? I'm going to be a real stickler about the 1-minute sample and the 3-minute presentation. Not to be rude, but we have a lot of people tonight, and I know we have a lot of talent here that are here for the 1-minute things. So we want to try to keep this rolling as much as possible. Commissioners, each of you have a staff report. At the end of the this staff report will be used after that second recess when I plug it into the funding table chart, and that's when I want to take to Lee Plemmel for that June 6th meeting, and I will be there with him.
Okay.
So commissioners, as we have our presentations, please keep that sheet nearby and
What are our numbers?
keep it handy for your numbers. Commissioners are judging you upon artistic merit of the proposed project. What does that mean? Your proposal achieves quality and value based on its creativity, ingenuity, or talent. They're also judging upon the clarity of the application, narrative, and the budget. Does your proposal evoke a clear understanding? Can they really visualize how you're going to do this? A demonstrated community support or investment. Of course, a percentage for the arts is a percentage of community vitality. And so when you can show that you're plugging your organizations into other organizations or into other locations, or even if creative entities overlap, we like that. Audience benefit derived from the project. So we want to make sure that each proposal has an audience outreach that benefits, an outreach benefit and or a new audience engagement, right? That challenges you to come up with new great ideas to advertise Carson City as a creative capital. Intent to develop and evolve the organization. One of my primary duties here is to make sure that these artists and organizations are elevated, connected, and evolve. And so that's why we have that there. And then the last scoring criteria is a clearly defined ability to successfully complete the project. Does your organization have the reputability and the management and the history to accomplish your set goals? All right, all good stuff. It's not copywritten. Go ahead and use it at home. Ben, before we start, would you recommend that maybe Ellie and Lupe speak?
Ben Johnson, Deputy District Attorney for the record. Madam Chair, do you mind if we take just a 5-minute break so that I can confer with Commissioners Bugili and Lopez?
Fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Order, and I have a couple things to read to you. This is a staff summary. The Cultural Commission will evaluate, prioritize, and make recommendations to the Redevelopment Authority regarding the budgeted expenditure of $26,315 for arts and culture special event funding from the Redevelopment Revolving Fund for fiscal 1920. A total amount of $26,315 is eligible for allocation, $25,000 allocated in 1920, and $1,315 in unspent rollover from fiscal year 1819. At this time, are there anybody in the audience with public comments or questions on any issue that's not on the agenda?
Madam Chair, Ben Johnson, Deputy District Attorney for the record. I believe that there were at least one disclosure on the board regarding a potential conflict, and so I'll let any commissioners make statements at this time.
This is Eleanor Bugley for the record. NRS 281A 420 requires me to disclose a conflict of interest and abstain from voting when I have a disqualifying conflict. In my private commitment, I am president of the Carson City Symphony Association and an applicant for one of the grants, the Latin Expressions Concert Series, which has submitted for funds from the Redevelopment Authority. Because the association will be competing with other individuals and groups for funding, I feel this is a disqualifying conflict, and as such, I will not be voting on this matter. And in fact, I'll step down during the deliberations.
My name is Lupe Ramirez, and I am going to also abstain from voting on the application for the Carson City Symphony proposal. I am going to be working with the organization in terms of providing support and guidance in how to include the Latino community into attending the events that this proposal is going to be providing. So I will be voting on the other applications, but abstaining from the Carson City Symphony proposal.
Excuse me, this is Terry McBride for the record. So does that mean we won't have a quorum for one of the items, or are we okay?
I believe you're still okay based on the explanation that Mark gave regarding how the scoring is going to be counted.
Thank you.
And this is Barbara Dineo, Chair. Does that also include the one that they have to recuse themselves? We can still vote on that? Yes. We can.
Correct.
All right. Thank you. Moving along. Item 6 is for discussion item only. Is this something you think you've already done, Mark, or shall I read it out loud? Drafts
We are going to engage now in 5A.
5.
And so with that, I would like to invite White Horse Productions up to the microphone. If it's your first time here, please have a seat in the center chair and press this button. Once you see the screen, it means it's live and you can press red. And please remember to state your name and your organization for the record.
Hello, I'm Carol Scott, Executive Director of Wild Horse Children's Theater. First of all, I would like to thank the Cultural Commission and Redevelopment for our funding last year for our production of Newsies, which opens at the end of June here at the Carson City Community Center. We are hard at work with rehearsals, one of the hardest shows we've ever done, but it's going to be amazing. So thank you for that. Our request this year is $5,000 for the Northern Nevada premiere of Disney's Frozen Junior the Musical. This musical has been a cultural phenomenon. with the movie, the Broadway production, which is still on Broadway. It's very rare that MTI has the rights for a junior production that is still currently on Broadway, but they decided to release Frozen Junior. We were one of the lucky theater companies throughout the United States that got the first rights to this. We won a national award for the third year in a row at the Junior Theater Festival West in Sacramento. We won the Freddie G. Award of Excellence in Ensemble, and because of that, we were able to obtain the rights for Frozen Junior. This is our 11th season. Because this show is so huge, we were going to do 3 weekends at the Brewery Arts Center Performance Hall, where we are the resident theater company there. We are asking for $5,000 for special costumes, special digital effects. Currently, the trend is for backdrops, instead of doing regular backdrops, people are using projections. And when we were at the Junior Theater Festival, we were able to see the projections that they have. It's a package, and it goes along with the music. So when the actors are acting, the projections are going along with what they're singing in the song. It's amazing. It's the first time I've seen that. So that's a new package. We want to get that. There are special costumes for Frozen that we'll need, and also for our advertising. We expect this to bring in more children auditioning than we've ever had, which is a bit scary, but we will handle it. We always do. We'll double cast if we have to, which we usually do. We are also a partner with the Carson City School District. We work with workshops after school with the Title I schools, and also we do a summer camp at Sealiger Elementary School, and we bring 2 performances to the Brewery Arts Center at the end of that. And it is through the Carson City School District, and they are proud to be a partner with us as we are with them. This is our 2nd year doing that. We just think this is a fabulous opportunity for us and for our community. So we hope that the commission will fund us and come and see our productions, as you always do.
Thank you, Carol. That was 3 minutes.
Great.
I'd like to give the opportunity for the commissioners to ask any questions, and then after that, we'd have our 1-minute presentation.
This is Terry McBride for the record. Carol, your request amount actually totaled $4,500. I just wanted to point that out to the other commissioners, and I just wanted to mention that so we can keep that in mind as we're allocating the funds at the end of the meeting.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm wrong.
That's fine.
Thank you.
That's fine. Thank you.
Carol, the question I have is, did you have to pay for the rights for Frozen, and what did that add up to?
Yes, we always have to pay for the rights for our productions, and the royalties for Frozen is about $4,500, $4,700. It's already paid for. We're ahead of the game because of our productions that we've done so far.
Yeah, this is Barbara Janeo. I have a question. In sound and light equipment, $12,500. Who owns the equipment?
We own the sound equipment.
You own this,
Yes.
and the lighting equipment, because, if you own it, then you're the organization requesting it. If somebody else owns it,
No, it's ours.
then that's yours. And you also talked about sending a grant application to Costco. Have you had any?
No luck. They denied us
They
the
did.
$500, yes.
They did deny you. Okay. And it says here, credit card liability of $3,700?
Yeah, we're down to $1,500. It was because sometimes when we have to pay royalties, we would use our credit card for that, and then we'd pay for it with the following show. And so we have $1,500 left to pay off that we will pay off after Newsies.
Okay. You have wonderful productions.
Thank
and
you.
I know this one will be a winner also. And you're looking for folks to attend beyond the Nevada community. So I look at that and I think, how are you going to get them? How do you know? Do you have a way to find out from your attendees, where did they come from? How did they hear about you? Do they want information in the future? Do they get membership to support you information? That's the sort of thing that at least I feel is going to help organizations like yours grow in the future. But we are confident that they may or might or whatever, we need a little more hard information than just that. So next year, if you're here, it would be nice to get those numbers.
Yeah, we try to do exit surveys
Yeah.
in our programs, and we haven't been successful with getting a lot of people to fill them out because they're usually trying to get out the door or trying to get concessions at the middle of the show. We do a Survey Monkey to send out to our people that we do get emails from them, so we send that out. And we know that we have a lot of young people that bring in relatives from all over the country. They fly in from as far away as the East Coast.
Do you ask things about, how did they hear about this organization?
yes.
Where did they come from? And how effective is the publicity? Because I note that several of the organizations, it's all about advertising and marketing. How do you know if it's effective? And what are the mechanisms that you're putting in place to sort of get those kind of answers as
Right.
you move forward? Okay?
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Great. And so now I would like to introduce Ronnie Ellison and our Junior Theater Festival Performance Troupe, part of them, because we have many more of them, singing a section of Frozen, Let It Go.
Spiraling in frozen fractals all around, and one shot crystallizes like an icy blast. I'm never going back, the past is in the past. Let it go, let it go, let it rise like the break of dawn. Let it go, let it go, that perfect girl is gone. Here I stand in the light of day. Let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anyway.
Thank you, that was terrific.
Job well done. So Commissioners, next we're going to have a 3-minute presentation by the BAC regarding their traditional Celtic music series.
Diadich, which is Irish for hello. My name is Kathy Bly. Thank you very much to all the commissioners for hearing me today. The Celtic series at the Brewery Arts Center started 5 years ago with 17 members in the audience at our first show at the Maisie Harris Jesse Black Box Theater. This past season, due to demand of our shows, we had to move into the larger performance hall for the majority of our performances, and several were even sold out. Our audience is committed. We have season ticket holders who are committed to all performances that we do throughout the year, which is monthly, including season ticket holders from both Reno and South Lake Tahoe. Because of help from the grant services that you provide, we're able to bring in a wide variety of Celtic musicians and singers on an elite level, including All Ireland champions and Scottish Glenfiddich musicians. My husband and I started the Celtic series at the Brewery Arts Center, and we donate all of our time, and we donate all of the sound equipment, and we have for the past 4.5 years, almost 5 years, at our own expense, because we believe in live performance and providing great opportunities for musicians to perform in our community. And we will continue to do so because we love this series so much. We're very grateful to the Brewery Arts Center for being our partner. All of the proceeds from ticket sales go towards the musicians or to cover expenses at the Brewery Arts Center, and everything else is done by volunteers. Why do we do this? We love seeing the new faces that show up at every show and say, we didn't know you were doing this and now we do. Thank you very much. We do this because of all the old faces in spirit that show up and say, thank you for doing this every month. We really enjoy live music, especially with the Celtic nature. And by the way, our last show is this coming Friday, so if you haven't had a chance to see our series, please feel free to stop on by. We would like to thank the Redevelopment Special Event Funding Grant because we can expand our marketing. And we want to make this series a destination. And we have already seen indications through our surveys at the door of people who say, yes, I saw you in the Sacramento Bee, or I saw you up in Grass Valley, and also online through online streaming services where we actually are in multi-states. And that is a goal of ours. We really do want to make our series a destination, and we've started doing that. It's taken a few years, and we're getting there. So we're very, very proud of that. We would also like to say it is a collaborative effort. The Brewery Arts Center approached us originally for an opportunity to make use of the venues. They didn't really say what to do with it. They just offered us the venue. They didn't want it dark. They wanted live performance. And we've had that. So thank you very much, Commissioners, for our chance to speak to you today.
Question, who owns the lighting that you're applying for?
That is owned by the Brewery Arts Center
Okay, all
as part of the venue.
right, thank you.
Do you, this is Terry McBride for the record. Do you offer any discounted tickets for?
We do. We have
school? Yeah, go ahead.
We have a tiered system. Brewery Arts Center members get special fees. We do have a student price, and it's slightly higher at the door. So if you wait till the last minute, you pay a little more. We have purposely kept our prices low. If you look at the musicians we're bringing in, we're on the low side, but we don't ever turn anybody away.
Thank you very much.
It's Barbara again, for the record. I guess I'm going to be the stickler these days. I love everything that you're saying, and being 100% Irish, I do understand it very, very well. But it says here, other funding sources and amounts that you're asking from the other funding sources. Can you share any of that information? Is that coming through the BAC, or is that coming on your own efforts?
It's a collaboration. What we've asked the Brewery Arts Center to help us do with this series is because we provide sound equipment, very professional, good sound equipment we have for the past 5 years, there's wear and tear on that. We have never charged a dime to the Brewery Arts Center. We have never charged a dime. We provide the setup, the equipment, and do it ourselves because we want the musicians and the audience to have a great experience. We're having wear and tear on the equipment and the materials that we bring to the series. So we are asking for some help. We will continue to donate our time. We will continue to donate our equipment and our services. But after 5 years, our soundboard is starting to give out. Our cabling, it's nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
Nuts and bolts.
It does boil down to that, and I'm just looking at this, donations. When you go to organizations like Carson Tahoe Hospital or any other business area, how are you presenting it to them? Does it come by letters? Is it off the cuff? Is it, gee, we'd like to support you? It's like, are you asking for certain levels of business and community support?
Well, for us, for the Celtic series, since we are a partner with the Brewery Arts Center, when we look at other agencies, we're looking for a partner that has a specific interest in our Celtic series. They're obviously involved in the Brewery Arts Center on many, many different levels. So we want to be very careful that we never step on the toes of the Brewery Arts Center, of any other art projects. So it's, arts, we're all overlapping, we're all collaborative together, and we like it that way. We also want to be really careful that if somebody is coming to support our Celtic series, which we have had support from the Celtic organization up in Reno, wanted to be part of our series, specifically approached us about that, and wanted to contribute and wanted to support our arts project.
are these, and Gina might answer this too, are these for the entire Brewery Arts Center budget, or is this specifically for yours? I'm looking at 39,262 in your revenue, and
We are, yes, since we are under the auspices of the Brewery Arts Center, we don't have our own 501c3, we don't have our own organization, it's me and my husband, and we love music. So we rely on the Brewery Arts Center to provide the legalistic aspects. So I think as part of the grant, we felt obligated to include that aspect
Yeah.
of part of the grant process.
Maybe I can clarify.
Please, Gina.
Yeah, for you, because I'm looking at this going, wow.
I play the Irish accordion, I'm over my head.
These are
This is Gina
big
Hill with Brewery
numbers.
Arts Center. No, so what you're looking at as far as the grant request and the redevelopment funds here in the timetable, that is for the Celtic series. What you're looking for is the annual budget of the organization. That's what it asks for. So the 346,000 is for the entire Brewery Arts Center.
Entire Brewery Art. Okay,
Thanks, Gina.
okay. She's going, thank you very much.
Yeah, I play the Irish accordion, so money's way over my head.
So, does anyone have any further questions or comments? Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you. Now, here's our 1 minute presentation.
Yeah.
And the wailing fleet at rest.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, next up is proscenium players, seeking funding for 2019-2020 season. Jeff?
That video clip kind of made me thirsty for a Guinness. And Gina, you might have wanted to just stayed up here, I'm pretty sure. Which button?
Right here, Jeff.
Is it green? Oh, I see. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Jeff Bassa, the president of Proscenium Players, or PPI. And PPI is thankful to the commission for providing the opportunity to present our grant application, and specifically your time for your consideration of our grant request for $3,500. Who are we and what do we do? This is our first opportunity to apply. PPI is the longest-running theater group in Carson City, and we are the second oldest community theater group in the state. We were established in 1965 and have continuously served our community since then. PPI has been proud over its 54 years of operation, has produced over 150 full-length shows. Typically, PPI produces at least 3 full-length shows each year, consisting of comedies, dramas, musicals, or some combination thereof. We also provide workshops for those interested in learning how to do lighting and sound and directing and so forth at the community theater level. And we have recently added dramatic readings, which is similar to old radio shows where they read. However, the content is significantly updated. And all that is depending on our resource availability. PBI's productions, we are produced and performed with all volunteer cast and crews. We have no paid actors or crew support during our productions. And as such, all of our costs that are incurred are directly attributed to our production costs, such as our fees, materials, and so forth for building our stage, and then our reoccurring fees, which are storage, utility, our insurances, web access, and so forth. We don't have a very large demand that way, but it is big enough that it does cause us to stay tight on our budget. Now, we do have a good association with the Brewery Arts Center, And PBI has been provided the ability to continue offering our community a source of high-quality live entertainment with that association. But more importantly, PPI provides the vehicle for the fusion of talents as an all-volunteer community activity. So there is an interrelationship there that with BAC's support, PPI can provide that to the community and continue to bring people in, very diverse cultures. Now, why do we do it? Live theater does remain a major form of entertainment, and it's somewhat of a theme for everyone that's presenting here tonight. I offer you, the lights on Broadway are still quite bright, okay? It's the choice of many when they get tired of the digital world. Continues to be that way. And the use of updated sound and lighting elements in productions are the constant theme of those successful in this business as the way to regain lost ground to on-demand and digital amusement. There, am I over already? Wow, okay. Well, in wrapping it up, I'll go to the tangibles very quickly. How does PPI intend to use this funding this particular year, July 1st through June 30th of the upcoming year? And those things come up in two very distinct areas: tangible results, non-tangible, increased level of attendance of local and external audiences, which has been covered. Productions are attracting audiences that travel from outside the area, which we've already heard. How do we know that? We pulse these audiences as they exit our theater. And as other individuals move into our area, as we open our doors to more diverse groups, we have more and more people that are coming to see them, much like has been identified. People travel from all over the country, mostly from California, I will admit, but that number is growing steadily every show. The increased ticket revenue contributes to us enhancing our self-sufficiency and reinvestment in our own continued growth. On the non-tangible side, the ability to attract and retain new and younger members is the intent, okay? Increased numbers and diversity of our productions, we can achieve that with these increased dollars. As we advance.
Sorry to interrupt, just to be fair to the other presenters.
Okay,
I want to
I'll
cut
knock
you
it
with
off.
that and allow
But
the
that is it.
commissioners any time to expound on maybe some of the points that he made.
So with those points in mind, if there's any questions, I'll be glad to provide whatever information I can.
I would just like to thank your organization for completing a performance that then you then donate the proceeds to the domestic violence group here in town. That's a wonderful thing that you're using your arts to help others in the community, even though, you know, you're not made of money. So I just want to thank you for doing your part in other sections of the community.
Thank you.
I also want to commend you for being inclusive of a diverse community. You mentioned that a couple of times, and I think it's important to have that as part of your audience, and so thank you for that. And thank you for also letting individuals be part of something very important, of a project very important, you know, individuals who want to volunteer their time, they're doing it in a very wise way. So thank you for including that.
Thank you.
And thank you, here she comes again, but it's Barbara for the record.
I brought a pen because I knew you were there, so.
That's good. Well, I'm just looking in the request for the 3,500. Production costs, theater lights. Again, is that something that I'm not quite sure, because I keep seeing theater lighting and it's theatrical lights and,
It says rights.
oh, right. Jeez.
It's called, my glasses are
Yeah, mine
like
is
that too. so.
barely legible on this one. So what does that entail?
Theatrical rights.
Rights, yeah.
When we go to produce a show, much like others have identified, there's a fee that you have to pay the producer or the publisher. And those, depending, again, going back to dramas, comedies, or musicals are the most expensive, based on the music rights you have to pay for. But general fees are anywhere from $100 to $150 per show. So if you're going to do 6 shows, it's 6 times that amount.
So, and again, and I've known the Presidium players for years and years and years, and you do a wonderful job. How do you evaluate the success in terms of participation, audience participation? Can all the organizations, but I will speak directly to yours, put in place some mechanism that tells us who's coming and the demographics, if you can do that? I mean, there are always ushers and people who are there, who can do head counts and can do all that kind of thing. But it would be nice to know, because we keep seeing, audiences are going to grow and this is going to happen. How do we know that? So it's just, please think that in terms of next year coming, we'd like a little bit of history on how did it work and was it successful?
Okay.
Okay.
I can give you one option. It's being done right now in Carson Valley.
Good.
They definitely, as each individual before the show starts comes through the door, where are you from? How did you hear about it? Who else? Do you know somebody in the show? And so forth. Those questions are asked, and people are very quick to volunteer those results. Then those get tabulated, and they can start targeting their marketing depending on what the show is about. So.
That is a super answer, and I'm hoping it's a great answer. And I'm hoping it gets heard out there so that in the future, that's the way to get them when they're coming in the door, So bravo, good for you. Thank you.
I paid attention on that one.
You paid it.
Jeff, was there a work sample or?
Yes, there certainly is. In closing, I'm introducing the very talented Rez Martin, who is the PPI secretary and will be offering a short segment from a future PPI production.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is a resuscitation, not a song, of Always a Bridesmaid, Never a Bride from I Love You, You're Perfect, Now Change. Well, I've walked down the aisle as much as Liz Taylor, but I've always stood off to the side. Each bride has me dressed in a gown I detest. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. For Catelyn, I wore satin, which I always look fat in. But then again, you should have seen her man Ken, all those calories he logged up till his arteries clogged up. He died on the couch watching ESPN. For Heather, I wore leather, which should have been a bellwether that their marriage was doomed to survive. He spent all their money on some hooker named Honey. Now he walks kind of funny, but at least he's alive. When I open my closet, there's a rainbow deposit of gowns no grown woman should own. Now those husbands are gone, but the gowns, they live on. Even the moths seem to leave them alone. Too many weddings, too many messes. But at least I still have my pride. Yes, I live life alone. But the terms, they're my own. Always a bridesmaid. Thank you, Lord. Never a bride. See?
Great job, Rez. That was fun. That was fun. Yeah. Don't we all?
Great, thank you for that fantastic presentation. Next, we have Carson City Symphony for a Latin Expression concert focus.
I'm Eleanor Bugley, president of the Carson City Symphony Association, and I may ask for a few words from Lupe Ramirez, coordinator of Latino Outreach at Western Nevada College, who is working with us, the Symphony Association, on Latin Expressions, a 4-concert series planned for February to June 2020. And the grant application is to help fund that project. So the Symphony Association is not just an orchestra, despite our name. It's a community umbrella organization that also manages choral groups, youth string educational programs, and early music instrumental and vocal ensemble and chamber groups. And about 200 people of all ages participate. And although we do charge admission to some of our concerts, and request donations at some of the others, all of our classes and performing groups are free to the participants, including the children. Our goal for Latin Expressions is to create cross-cultural opportunities that will integrate the classical symphonic music with the Latino folk music and dance. The 4 concerts will each have a different classical soloist, but also a Latino performing group and a thematic focus. And the purposes are to engage the local Latino community that now makes up more than 20% of our population, and also to enrich our programs and educate the more typical concert goers about the musical and dance traditions of Central and South America. So Lupe is providing guidance on programming and serving as contact and liaison to the Latino community and also to the performers. And just as a little aside, for many years we've had a survey that we give to the audience. We also have a collection of pens and pencils to give them, so they have no excuse not to fill them out. And we ask them how they rate the quality of the performance, how they found out about it, and we list things so they can just check things off and don't have to write a lot, and where they're from. And our audience always includes a lot of people from Carson, but also people from surrounding communities, Reno, Incline, Dayton, Fallon, and we don't ask about their ethnic background or economic background, but we have collected information, and for this project, the surveys will be bilingual. So I wanted to ask Lupe, would you like to let people know about is that 3 minutes?
Yeah.
I speak too slowly.
The commission could ask Lupe a question regarding something that Ellie has mentioned to continue the discussion.
In terms of age group demographic, what type of demographic are you, in age-wise, are you trying to engage with this?
I would like to say that we should engage the entire family because that's how Latinos function. We like to do things as family, and I think the type of performance that the Carson City Symphony offers is definitely ideal for all.
Okay. Thank you.
And obviously incorporating the mariachi and the different Latino performers, that definitely is one way that we can draw families because they follow them in the area. So absolutely.
Okay, that's good. A question. In your marketing, as you're putting the information out there to get people to come, I notice here it seats the theater here, 578 people. And another request was, we're concerned, that maybe we might not get the audience. But I would use that as a positive, brand-new seating that you could, I want to come now to the center because it has new refurbished seats. I didn't want to come to it before. So I think that is a real PR advantage for any of the organizations, and especially for you and for families to come.
We actually have used that because we have heard from people who said they would not attend until those new seats were in. And I think we did get some of those people at our last concert in April.
And you talk here about the different partnering organizations, and one of them is GE Foundation. Have you heard anything from the GE Foundation? I would be very surprised. I think that's wonderful.
Is GE Foundation listed?
I am assuming it's General Electric. Written, because it says here, Reno Public Radio, blah, blah, GE Foundation. So, if not, check it out, will you please? Because, if you can get money out of them, that's marvelous. And it's wonderful.
I will.
To offset your costs. And, again, it all comes down to, and I know it's hard about advertising and publicity, but maybe at some point we will define, in these requests, is that the number one thing? Or is it paying for artists, or what is it, equipment or that kind of thing? Because everybody's heavy on marketing and so on, and asking for money to do that.
We're heavy also on our guest artists. And
Yeah,
all
no, I know,
the guest groups will
Yeah,
be paid.
And they should be, as well, they should be. But I don't know about anybody else, but congratulations, and I hope it's very successful.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is Terry McBride for the record, and I would just like to thank the Carson City Symphony in working with Lupe Ramirez and the Latino community to come up with a really brilliant, brand-new sort of event that we haven't had here, and it will serve an underserved population. And that's what we're looking for, as you know, being a commissioner yourself. So thank you for your efforts in pulling this together.
Thank you.
And if I may also add, for Mother's Day celebration or gala celebration, I introduced Ellie to one of the main performers, and he was super excited. So he's looking forward to making the connection and make it happen.
Okay, commissioners, we're going to do a presentation here.
And a little kludgy, it works on 3 of my computers at home. I'm a Mac, he's a PC. And so I'm going to do the sound, he's going to do the video.
Okay, here we
portion.
go.
Here we go. Ready? Did it actually pick up? It's actually coming out of yours. No? Yeah, there it is.
All right, thank you for that.
Bravo.
And just for the record, the music behind that was the Carson City Symphony playing a piece by Johnny Richards, whose original name was Juan Manuel Cascales, and he was born in Toluca, Mexico.
Thank you.
A suerte tú los tontos.
Our next presentation is going to be the Mile High Jazz Band Association for Jazz and Beyond, their August festival.
Hello, I'm David Bugley. I'm president of the Mile High Jazz Band Association. I'm also the conductor of the Carson City Symphony, but that's something else. We are requesting funds for Jazz and Beyond, a 17-day music and art festival now in its 16th year. It is designed as a showcase for the community, which also attracts visitors and tourists. This year, we plan to have about 60 acts from single entertainers to several 18-piece big bands, plus artists, lectures, and film. Almost all the events are free to the public. We also pick up on some other events that are presented by other groups, and we list them in our elaborate, usually 24, 28-page booklet. We believe that musicians should be paid unless they choose to donate their talents. That is why payments to musicians are our biggest expense. Other expenses are technical support, mainly audio, marketing, insurance, and postage. The entire project is administered by volunteers, so we have no management expenses. Income is from grants, donations, sale of advertisements in the festival program, raffles, and donations at concerts, and organization reserve funds. That's the Mile High Jazz Band Association. Styles of music go way beyond jazz and to blues, country, rock, and bluegrass. Some people say, that's not jazz, and others love the variety. With so many performers, everyone can find what they like and maybe discover something new. We're excited to feature local favorites such as the Take This Jazz Combo and our traditional closers, the Reno Jazz Orchestra, as well as visiting bands and up-and-coming stars. Some highlights this year are a lecture called All About the Bass by Reno jazz musician Scott Marshall, who is a bassist, storyteller, great storyteller, and singer. The special event will be at the South Gallery of the Nevada State Museum and is supported by Great Basin Consulting Group. A fourth day at the Silver Saddle Ranch, I believe it's the August 18th, gives everyone a chance to put on boots and hats and enjoy the Sagebrush Rebels, Sierra Sweethearts, and other live entertainment on the Meeks Truck stage, which is kind of entertaining. The wagon pulled by mules provides all ages with a tour through the ranch and a feeling for the history of the 702-acre property. Third item, an art walk with music on Saturday, August 24th will feature artists at work in several locations in our city. And Beyond Jazz and Beyond, that's a little component of the third annual Jukebox International Film Festival, will take place at the Community Center. The three-day festival presents new films that celebrate music and musicians with an awards ceremony on the final day. And there's a lot more, but I want to leave a few seconds for questions. Did I beat the 3 minutes?
Boy, you timed that.
I'm a musician. Got to have that timing down.
That's really amazing.
David, thank you for your presentation, and I would just like to commend Jazz and Beyond for expanding their scope every year. I've been watching as you come in and give details on your plans for each year and have noticed that the repertoire, the scheduling has expanded in scope, not just in music styles, but also to include the visual arts. And I'm most appreciative of the fact that you've tried so hard to keep most of your events free, because people in town really, really appreciate that. So thank you very much.
For families.
I just want to say I appreciate the continuing effort to just keep growing.
Thank you.
And you too. David, I just have a question. Again, I'm in the finance thing.
Oh, not, that's my worst part.
Okay, this is curious for me because in your fiscal years 18, 19, 20, you go down in income as opposed to you've got 53,840 for 18, but in 20 it's 48,820. Okay, Ellie or somebody, can you tell what's going on?
Answer that.
She's my financial, yeah.
Because some of the years before that, we ended the year with a loss and had to dig into our reserve funds to break even. So what we did was cut out some of the ticketed events, which were very costly and didn't brought in enough to pay for themselves, but not to make money, and tried to find ways to save, being very, sticking to our fees that we pay the musicians, even if they're from out of town, not paying lodging or transportation, although sometimes we get comp hotel rooms for them. So we try to reduce our costs so that we wouldn't lose money, so that we could keep this going longer.
Okay.
And I can answer you about GE Foundation.
Oh, good.
I remembered that one. It's a matching grant from a GE retiree.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Thank you.
So corporations do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's my financial consultant. I have no head for money.
And seeking out more and more business and financial corporations to be of assistance to you offsets the offering free for a lot of folks. And I get that, and I think it's absolutely wonderful that you do that. Somewhere down the line, there's also no free lunch. And 50 cents or a buck could help too. Just the thought about what people's perception is. If it is billed as absolutely across the board, free to everybody, cool. That's only just how is it being advertised and publicized in the community. You do a great job for this community. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioners, are we ready for the sample?
Can I say something about the sample first? Because of the timing of the different machines, we may not get the credits at the end. I want to give credit to the musician at the end It is Dallas Smith, and this is original composition. It was supposed to be a fade out on that.
That's my kind of music. It was really good. A suggestion to you and to many of you, there are organizations in town, like I'm in Rotary, and there's others, that you could offer your services at a recent conference in Reno. The kids played from a high school, and they had $2,800. They just had little bottles on the tables, and people donated money. And so it's a way for you to look for income to help your organizations and say, we are available to service your events.
Let me just say one thing. We really would like to get the high school age kids involved. August is not the best time.
Yeah.
Because I know we've, like the Reno Jazz Orchestra youth group, we've been trying to get them for years and it just doesn't work. So.
Yeah. This is a group that played in February. So I'm telling you, organizations are having dinners and all that kind of thing all the time. Send a letter to these nonprofit organizations and say, we would love to have you hire us and help our kids.
Commissioners, two more presentations here. Next up is Sierra Nevada Ballet. 12th night, a ballet noir. I'm just going to put this on pause.
Hello, I'm Rosine Benna, the Artistic Director of Sierra Nevada Ballet. Thank you so much for having me here today. We are in our 18th year of performing in Carson City, and we perform winter, spring, and summer. Sierra Nevada Ballet is requesting funding for our original brand-new full-length story production, 12th Night, a Ballet Noir, on August 10th at 7:30 p.m. at the Carson City Community Center. This is choreographed and directed by the New York award-winning artist, Ananda Benaweber, my daughter. With a cast of over 40, including professional artists from throughout the United States and Europe, we're holding a national and international video audition, as well as 2 open auditions in Nevada. Last year's original comic production of A Midsummer Night's Dream in the steampunk style by Benaweber proved to be a great success. Audience survey members raved about the production, saying, quote, "This is one of the most entertaining professional productions I've seen," and, quote, "I laughed so hard I snorted," and, quote, "I loved it so much I came back to see it 3 times in 3 different venues." SNB will offer some free and reduced price tickets to seniors, Douglas County at-risk students, and Boys and Girls Club, and underprivileged families and veterans. Exposure and access to education helps contribute to vibrant, creative neighborhoods. This SNB event will open with an introductory lecture by me to expose and educate audiences in the art of ballet. Those who have never read a Shakespeare play will become familiar with the classic story. Ballet is universal and needs no translation, nor does it require the ability to read a piece of literature. SNB offers an arts event which is not limited by race, gender, physical impairment, culture, orientation, economic, or social status. This event offers every member of the Carson audience a chance to join together to share an entertaining art experience. This is a very large work with extensive sets and costumes and a large cast of paid professionals. It is for that reason that we are requesting funding help from the City of Carson. SNB has already received funding commitments for this event from several funding organizations and foundations, and we are honored that 2019 marks the 3rd year that SNB has received direct funding from the National Endowment for the Arts. We hope that you will partner with us to present 12th Night, a Ballet Noir in Carson City. Did I make it?
And here is the sample.
This is from Giselle. This is from Romeo and Juliet. This is also from Romeo and Juliet. That is Lord and Lady Capulet. This is from Swan Lake, The Boys Dance in Act 1. Also from Swan Lake, Act 2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Questions? I have a question. Do you get a nonprofit break for using the theater?
Yes, we do.
Okay. How much of a break do you get?
That I don't know, but I know that because they tell me that all the time, they're giving us a break. Yeah. I'm not sure what that break is, though. I can find out, though, and get back to you. That would be a good thing, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is a benefit, so it should be listed as something that the city is doing, so.
Okay, thank you very much.
This is Terry McBride for the record, and I just was curious, you plan on doing this production next summer? Or this
This coming summer.
summer? And so did you have in mind to kind of do it in tandem with the Shakespeare?
We do
Festival?
this, our summer performances, we do part of the Lake Tahoe Shakespeare Festival, the Monday night series, and we also do in Reno at the Pioneer Center and in Carson City.
That's such a great idea. Yeah.
It also helps because if somebody goes to, which was what happened last year, they went to the Sand Harbor, they liked it so much, then they came to Reno, and then they came to Carson. And so it was
Right,
fabulous.
Right, terrific, thank you.
Thank you. Could I ask one question? Am I permitted to do this? Well, we have several Latino star dancers. Is there a way that we can reach out to the Latino community better? Because we don't know how to do that.
Absolutely. Talk to me.
Okay, I will contact you.
Most certainly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our final applicant tonight is Pinkerton Ballet.
Good evening. My name is Molly Walt, president of Pinkerton Ballet Theater for 11 years, producer and stage manager for 8 years. So thank you, first of all, for giving us the opportunity to present to you this evening and for the continued support that you've given to us and to this community event, the Nutcracker Ballet. The grant helped us fund a live orchestra last year. We were able to have a live orchestra in year 20, 25, and then again in year 30. We would love to continue to hire the live orchestra because every year when we finish, that is one of the biggest compliments that we get, is that it is having a live orchestra changes the production of itself. So we would like to be able to continue to have that as well. For year 30, we went out on a limb and we doubled, if not tripled, our efforts in advertising, which we found to be very successful. We were able to do TV ads. We were on the radio, which we've never been on before either. And we outreached into the rural communities. And then we also were up in Reno. We did the billboards, which seemed to really help our cause as well. And I would be able to, I know you've been asking, we do, our tickets are sold on Showtix for You, and I can present you that information at a later date. I didn't bring it with me this evening, but it will tell you how many tickets were bought outside of Carson City. And I wanted to mention, because we were just in the audience as well, Wild Horse Theater does the same thing, and she had said that she would be able to get you that information as well for their ticket sales. Because when you go in, you have to say where you're purchasing them from. So with that, that is what we're asking funding for as well, is to continue our advertising efforts to the extent in which we did last year. Ticket sales for us is our biggest fundraiser. And I know everybody is excited with the remodel of the community center, don't get me wrong. The seats being widened, new seats, more comfortable seats. However, that takes out 189 seats of our fundraising efforts. Last year, we were 5 seats shy of having a sellout on Sunday. So we take that in to consideration, saying that we're going to be losing money, which is, when you go into an endeavor like that, it's very concerning. However, I'm very excited about the remodel of the community center, all for it. So please don't get me wrong. We offer, senior and student discount tickets. Our senior and student tickets are 18 and our general admission is 22, as well as senior housing group rates. So we reach out to the plaza, to the lodge, to the senior center. Group rates of 20 or more tickets are $10 a piece. So we're excited to be able to do that, as well as free tickets to the Boys and Girls Club of Northern Nevada, Ron Wood Family Center, Advocates, and CASA. Free tickets as well, so. Any questions?
Any discount for college students?
They are students, so they go in, yes, is 18 as well.
Okay,
Mhm.
good, thank you.
And by that, we just do, we don't have them show IDs. We have a good faith, kind of by their word, then they can go in and do as a student as well. Mhm. Yes.
And Molly, same question as previous. Are you getting a nonprofit break for the venue rental?
We do. And so in all of our advertising, we do say that Carson City is a sponsor. We are sponsored by the city of Carson City on all of our advertising.
This is Terry McBride, for the record. So you talk about the reduction in seats and then how that affects your overall ticket sales. Have you considered doing an extra night or an extra matinee or something to make up?
We are in discussion of a Saturday matinee. So we do Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday matinee.
Right.
At our last board meeting, there was a potential of a Saturday matinee. The only thing that is, we do hire professionals. So they get paid per show.
Performance,
Yeah, and so that would be 4
Okay.
compared to 3.
Right.
And so we would have to look and see what is.
Do the cost
Right,
effective. Right.
yeah, return on investment on that to see whether or not.
I also wanted to ask you about the advertising costs. Your advertising's really high, have you been able to discern what is working as far as your advertising efforts? Like billboards are expensive.
Yes.
How many people did you get here?
So one, it's a lot higher than previous years, and you're probably seeing that because it was a volunteer effort. So we have never hired an advertiser before. It was all a board member who volunteered, we lost that this last year, so we knew that we were going to go, that we were going to need to put some forth into hiring an someone to help advertise. Keep in mind, that was a great discount that we received on that advertising as well, because it was a previous family of the Nutcracker. She had danced in the Nutcracker when she was a younger girl, so she gave us quite a bit of a discount. But the billboard that we did, and I think just anytime you're advertising, campaigning or advertising, it's hard to say what reached. What we do know that we're not getting our best return of investment is print media. And that is extremely, extremely costly. But yet we want to, it's always there. It's always on the Wednesday before the Nutcracker, and it's always on the Saturday. So people, the Nutcracker Ballet is a tradition. It's been here for 30 years and people expect to see, they don't like that change. And so as many times as I'm trying to say, let's cut the print, I'm not winning that battle, so I'm not even going to try. But that is And then the radio was new for us. But as much as we heard back, that your advertisement on the radio was so great, I heard it, the kids themselves, I wouldn't want to cut that, as well as the television. Yeah.
You might consider using the community radio that we have now in Carson City, maybe even offering to do a short interview.
I did.
About the 30 years of Nutcracker performances in Carson City. And
I was actually interviewed on behalf of my employment, and then he was able to give me 30 seconds to throw in the Nutcracker Ballet. So, yeah, so it was great. And then one of our parents, one of our fathers, is very involved with the community radio as well, and he always gets us a little time.
Are we ready for a sample? Okay, here we go. Is it audio only, Molly? Is yours this one, this green one? No. Can I get yours again then? Okay. The PowerPoint? Sorry. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Commissioners, it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to give you, would 5 minutes be enough to tally your scores? Okay. I'm going to check back in at 7:07 with you. We'll take a short recess. do is I'm going to collect your paperwork. Actually, I'm going to collect it after you call out the numbers. I'm going to put it up there, have you sign it. Just want to give the applicants an opportunity to say, hey, if we fell short, where can we improve next time? It's a common procedure in grant process. Commissioner McBride, I'm going to start with you, and if we could just go down the line, from, starting at Wild Horse.
So do I give the total, or do I?
The total, please. Yeah. And for Brewery Arts?
28.
Proscenium Players?
28.
Symphony?
30.
Mile High Jazz Band?
30.
Sierra Nevada Ballet?
30.
Pinkerton Ballet?
No. Oops. You want me to do those
So,
again?
yes, please, just,
Okay, so Wild Horse, Players 30, Brewery Arts Center Celtic Festival 28, Proscenium Players 28, Carson City Symphony 30, Mile High Jazz and Beyond event 30, Sierra Nevada Ballet 30, and Pinkerton Ballet, the Nutcracker Production 27.
thank you. And then I'm going to ask the same from Commissioner Teneo. We'll start at Wild Horse.
Okay, 23, BAC 25,
Slow down, please. 25 Proscenium Players?
Oh, I gotta do that too. Go back to the beginning, 23 for Wild Horse, 25 for BAC, Proscenium 25, Carson Symphony 28, Mile High Jazz 29, SNB 23, and Pinkerton 24.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Oops, okay. Okay, so while, HP, what is that?
Wild
Horse. Wild Horse Production, I'm sorry, 29, BAC 18, Pros, P 26, Mile High Jazz 30.
One moment. Carson City Symphony, number 4.
She can't.
She can't vote on
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
Mile High Jazz 30, SNB 27, and Pink 27.
Commissioner Abad?
Wild Horse Productions, 29. BAC, 25. Proscenium Players, 28. Carson City Symphony, 28. Mile High Jazz, 27. Sierra Nevada Ballet, 24. Pinkerton, 24.
Commissioners, can you just look at the screen and double check that what you have called out is what you see up on the Excel sheet?
I think that looks about right.
Yep.
Okay. So the average score based upon the ask is what this last column in here is. It amounts to $29,940.28. We have $26,315 available. The recommended cut is about 12%. I will let you know that these numbers are rounded.
Mark,
Yes.
did you adjust the Wild Horse Productions ask to 4,500?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the update, based on scores, we have $29,477.78. Total amount available, $26,315. Recommended cut of approximately 11%. So this is where the commissioners, there is one way we could do this. This is not what we did last year, but just for the sake of argument, I want to present this to you. It would be an 11% cut across the board. That's what column P represents.
Yeah. Where will that put us?
What's the
That would
difference
put
that
us
we're looking
at our number. The difference is,
It would be,
Yeah.
that would be fair to everyone.
It's gotta be fair.
one moment. We're $3,162.78 over $3,162.78 over. So one option is to take that cut across the board. Column P, I'm going to zoom in on this just so everyone can see it.
What's that? Yeah, what's that
Yep,
total?
please do.
That brings us to the exact amount that we have. Yeah.
That makes the most sense to me, too.
This is one method of doing it. This was brought up last year. The recommendation from this body was to plug column N, these scores, into a funding table. As you can see, we have very high scores. The lowest one is 80%.
Yeah.
Last year, where there was a lower number, and this body determined to cut anything lower, I think it was then a 79. So what this tells me is that we're gonna have a very high of the two charts I have down here, just as samples that we referred to yesterday, probably something along example number 2, where, let's say, a 90 to 94 gets 90% of the ask. And so what that 90%, what these percentages here in color represent, would be a percentage of the ask. And we go back into it that way. Yeah, so so column O is just a temporary first step to determining funding, possible funding. If we go into a different funding table, we go back to the ask. Is that clear for everyone? Yeah? So you tell me what to do.
So this is Terry McBride. Just for the record, I just have a couple of comments on some of the funding requests and the budgets that were proposed. I'm concerned about paying for LED lighting that's going to be installed in the Brewery Arts Center under the Celtic Music Festival rubric. My only other concern is the high cost of advertising for the Nutcracker Ballet. Half of the ask is for advertising. I just want to bring that up. I don't mean to pick on anybody. I just want to bring those things up. They kind of jumped out at me.
It's at the chair's discretion whether we want the applicants to respond to any topics brought up by the commission. We have yet to score yet, though, and I just want to be cognizant.
There'll be an opportunity for public comments, for the record, and we can.
Before we finalize.
Before we finalize and put it in, and I think to expedite matters, and I think it's this, at least people I've talked with, we all have that same consensus of feeling that let's score it out and then take comments.
And then the applicants will have a chance to see the score sheet and get in touch with me. And I can deliver any
Yeah.
concerns to the
Yeah.
commission.
We're feeling here that the 11% across the board, it seems to be the most fair. Everybody, has to put in a little bit, so that everybody, is funded at least with some.
I mean, my thought is, there's such quality in what everybody presented, and so that's probably the most fair approach that we can have. I mean, there's give and take on each and every one, and so I just feel that that's fair, and at least we can award something that helps each and every ask.
Well, the difference between the lowest and the highest here is about 16 percentage points. Last year, it was 30. And I think that was one of the reasons why we decided to go back in, because we didn't want the top end to be affected by the bottom. Again, it's up to this body to tell me what way to move here.
They were all excellent, requests. It's interesting how the focus is shifting a bit to advertising as opposed to, items you need actually for your business, the cost of doing business. But that then says, at least to me, you got to go out and find the advertising money through corporations and business and individuals. And maybe that's a thought for the future. But I think everyone should be complimented on the lovely proposals that you did give to us.
In addition to the hard work of putting the proposal together, I mean, that's a lot of work. So it definitely, one of my recommendations would be using social media. I mean, that's definitely a way to save money.
I might bring up something to the commission that there's been a lot of talk tonight about surveys. And I'm thinking it might be a good measure on our part, on my part, if we were to create a survey. You know, it's one less thing for the applicants to do. Maybe we can create a survey that we can upload with the application if they want to print that out as a convenience, and it could address some of the stats that you're looking for.
Mark, that's a wonderful idea. You are overloaded. If you had help to do that, I think we would all agree.
Hint, hint.
Hint.
So if that's how the commission wants to vote tonight, I would ask that you read the staff report here and put into the record what you see in column P, and I'm going to zoom in on that.
So Mark, in other words, we're going to cut 11%, so that means every request will be 89% funded?
89% of their ask.
Their request.
Right, and
Right.
don't go down to the penny, because again, as I'm showing you here, as this opens up, it's 89.206. Excel is going to round up. Excel is going to hit that exact number, but for our purposes here, we're just going to stick to it as, yes, 89
Okay.
and 11.
Okay, terrific.
But there are some decimals there after that.
Okay, and so when we read the recommendation to vote on, do we have to split out each line item, or?
I would recommend one motion, and what we could do is applicant number 1, Wild Horse Productions, at this column, and just go down from 1 to 7. And if there's a second, does it, reading your staff report here.
Yeah, this one.
What you see highlighted here is an 11% cut across the board. The equation's already in here,
Yeah.
and it matches exactly what we have available.
The Brewery Arts Center one doesn't look right to me. That number doesn't look right.
Again, it's going to be because,
Is that because of the weighted scores?
it's going to be these numbers here,
Okay, okay.
10.729.
All right, so the scores were weighted, and then we took off the 11%.
Yes,
Got it. Okay.
So what do we say?
right. The average score percentage times their ask,
Right,
and then 11%
Got it.
off of that, yeah.
okay.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, Terry's going to make the motion.
Okay, this is Terry McBride for the record. I move to recommend to the Redevelopment Authority the allocation of fiscal year 2019-2020 redevelopment arts and culture special event funding as follows. For the Wild Horse Productions events, $3,715.89. For the Brewery Arts Center Celtic Music Festival, $3,570.83. For the Proscenium Players, $2,785.99. For the Carson City Symphony, Latin
Latino.
Expressions events, $4,265.15 for the Mile High Jazz Band Jazz and Beyond events, $4,314.75 for the Sierra Nevada Ballet 12th Night Film Noir events, $3,868.39, and finally, the Pinkerton Ballet, the Nutcracker, $3,794 even.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. So the next step, as I had mentioned, on June 6th, I'm going to bring these recommendations.
Oh, excuse me, we need to vote. And on this one, I'd like to call the vote, please. Can we call the vote, please? Oh, you'd like to? Yeah, I want this formally done.
Chairperson Thenao.
Approve, aye.
Vice Chair Ramirez.
Approved, aye.
Commissioner Abad.
Approved? Aye.
Commissioner McBride.
Aye.
And one abstention, correct?
Right, yeah.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
So these recommendations will be brought in front of the redevelopments next redevelopment meeting on June 6th. I will be in touch, as I was last year, that same day with the applicants. There is no need for the applicants to attend this meeting. I will be your proxy at that meeting. And I will let you know that same day the status of the final board's decision in this. Any questions? My business cards are at the front door.
Now, I'd like to, before we go on to item 6, there was public comment. Now is the time. Gina, I think you had a comment.
Gina Hill with the Brewery Arts Center for the record. I just wanted to address the concerns. The Brewery Arts Center and the Celtic Series, music series, not festival, are one and the same. So when we're requesting funds, it's for the Brewery Arts Center, it's for this specific project, which is exactly how it's laid out in the grant, is what it asks you to do for a specific project. We are one and the same. And so that's why we asked for the LED lights, so we can light our performers. Joe Bly, part of the Celtic Music Series, got his master's degree in lighting design, I think the only one in the city. And so it's a big part of what we do. So it is for the Brewery Arts Center. I felt like you were thinking I was asking for every single grant, which was not the case. One of them didn't even say theatrical lights, it said theatrical rights. So I wanted to clarify that. Also, if you are interested in surveys, we have surveys, but it wasn't requested in the grants. So we have surveys going back 4 years for every single performance. So in the future, if you want to have that information, we'd be happy to provide it. Again, I've got 40 concerts worth of surveys just for this one event. And also with statistics. Every single one of us gets statistics on our ticket sales. We have all that information, but it was not requested in the grant. And I would really like to know, I'm curious about the 18 score. I want to know where we fell short.
I personally feel that we need to make these type of performances more diverse and innovative, and I did not see that.
Diverse can come in a lot of different directions. So this is specific towards one ethnic culture celebration, same as the Hispanic one that Jazz and Beyond is doing for that culture. There's really no difference in it. I am a Mexican woman. A lot of our performances, I can reach the community, and a lot of our diversity in the crowd shows through.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Gina, thank you to help clarify that. I'd like to add for everybody in the room, it's not just the BAC, but when organizations come in, at least for me, and this is my second whole term here, I want to know improvement. What changed? How did it get better? Did the audiences increase? Did the monies increase? Did the organizations provide donations and monies? How did it improve? Because frankly, I've kept some of these and I've read them. It's almost verbatim, the same thing in several years in a row, the same thing. And it's like, wait a minute, how's this going to change? And that's what I'm looking for is improvement so that you have a cadre of the public who become your audience, that they are going to be with you and supporting everything that you do in all of your performances. So that's what I'm looking for. And I don't know if you do it by surveys, what you want to do is people coming in the door, going out the door, I don't care. But we need to know, how did it improve because you've gotten grant monies now? What difference did it make? That's all I'm asking.
I think we addressed that in the first thing that Kathy Bly said was we went from 18-person audience to 2,700 this last year.
I'm
and the
not
hard
just
numbers
saying
are
you,
there.
I'm saying
No, but
everybody.
I'm trying to address this
Yeah,
too.
but everybody.
Hard numbers are here.
Yeah.
And we could do surveys, not surveys, we could do charts to really expound on that if that's what you're looking for.
Well, I think that Mark gets, the final report after, the fiscal year is over, and I think that there are some questions in that report that you can address those areas. Your audience expanded, the geographical scope expanded, the age groups expanded, whatever. But I think that maybe next year we will ask people to bring numbers because.
How did it improve?
Yeah.
Our numbers are included in
Yeah.
this, though. You
No,
can look
thank
at
you.
hard
I
numbers.
appreciate that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Yeah. Welcome back, Ellie. Where are we?
Any other final comments? This would be the time.
Yes, sir. And please tell us your name for the record.
For the record, my name is Joseph Bly. I just wanted to make a clarification. I do not have a master's degree. I got a bachelor's degree.
Well,
if it comes out in
for
the minute, someone goes, "Hey, wait, that's false." So I just want to say that. I also want to clarify. There was a question about what's all this about LED lighting. The thing with LED lighting, if we have, for example, each one of our Celtic series, the lighting and the air conditioning and the power consumption at 11.7 cents per kilowatt hour adds up to about $60 per hour in just power costs alone. And the LED lighting will take about $17 off that bill. And so for every one of these entities here, they all look at that bill and they're like, how can we cut the costs? And the LED lighting, because air conditioning is air conditioning, you can't really do more with air conditioning. But LED lighting, you can actually save $17 an hour with a really basic lighting setup using LEDs. And so that's just to clarify the LED lighting
Thank you
thing
for
that's
doing
popping
that.
up everywhere. So
Thank you.
that's all I have.
It's
Thank
good
you.
information. Hope everybody heard it. Okay. Are we through with public comments on this one? Because if so, we're going to move to item number 6. It's discussion only. And Mark, you have a
I would
question
recommend
for
that
us.
we're 2 hours in. I think this has been a very robust conversation, a lot of talent being shown here tonight in Carson City, and I think we're good for this discussion item, which we've spoken about earlier in the year, that we can push it to our July meeting, if that's what the board would like.
Does the board so agree? Yes. It's done. Public comments on any of that. Now we come to commissioner reports and/or comments.
I just want to thank everybody that came tonight and presented. You were awesome, and I wish we could give everyone 100%, but there's only so much money. And I would just like to push Concert Under the Stars. We don't get any grants, so I depend on the community support for people to buy their tickets. So carsоncitygreenhouse.org to buy your tickets, and I do have 14 seats left for Table on the Green, and you can contact me. My phone number is 775-232-8626. Thank you. And it's July 10th at Eagle Valley Golf Course.
Okay, anyone else? Ellie?
Yes, Mile High Jazz Band is playing an instrumental big band program tomorrow night at 7:30 at Living the Good Life.
Bummer, I can't go. Okay, future agenda items. Have we talked about the retreat at all, a date, or are we looking at really pursuing that effort?
I haven't gotten close to thinking about that quite yet.
Okay.
I wanted to push through this meeting, but for future agenda items, as I mentioned at our last meeting, we have omitted the director's report in light of the time here, but a lot has happened since our last special meeting, and everything from Tonopah to City Hall to Minneapolis to Gardnerville. So a lot of reports, or at least updates next week. I would like to give one little Carson City Cultural Commission bit of trivia. To date, I just spoke to the CTA earlier this meeting, gave them a report. In fiscal year 16-17, we had 48 people attend our meetings, right? Last year, 98 people attended our meetings. I've been keeping track. Tonight brings us up to 88 people, and we still have 3 more meetings to make. So I really want to thank everyone in the audience. Showing up means something, and you know, I'm at from this desk, I have to statistically prove this, and so we're going to knock that out of that attendance record out of the ballpark this year. So thank you.
Thank you. And your efforts make that happen. However, I am going to consistently talk about a time for the commissioners to sit down in a retreat with council and the public attendance for at least a half day to figure out where we're going, what we think we ought to focus.
Well, we can put that on the agenda item for certain, and we'll talk to the DA's office and just plot out the checkpoints that we need to
Yeah.
do to make that.
Agendize it, please, and
okay.
we will do it,
Certainly.
okay? Because that's going to be another meeting. Okay. Now, anyone in the public want to make any further comments? There's our Sharon.
Hi, thank you. Sharon Ross, Capital City Arts Initiative. Our flyers are at the printer. Please save Friday, June 7th for our next courthouse reception for New Crop 2019. We have 2 MFA graduates or grad students from UNR, Mark Combs and Francis Melhop. They have some they're very mature artists. They're not real young, but they've got some amazing work, so I hope you can come. Thank you. Oh, 5 to 7 at the courthouse?
It's always fun. Good wine.
Thank you.
Anything else? Well, we were kind of tough in a few of the questions, but I think this has been a wonderful exercise, at least for us. We hope it is for you, and we thank you for applying, and we will do everything in our power for as long as we can to support the arts and the organizations who come to us. And attend the functions. That helps. Thank you. Okay.
I need a motion.
I need a motion for adjournment.
So
Second.
We're adjourned.